Hey y'all, it's your girl Booney, and you're listening to the Booney Breakdown Podcast, your source for all things responsible and ratchet. All right, welcome to this week's episode. I'm joined with the homie Shika this week. You know how we do. Good girl Kiki to start us off, but then we do a shit that hits different. And this week's shit that hits different, we revisit the cult favorite, Showgirls. I literally had not seen this movie in decades. I don't know what prompted me to tell Shika, let's do this one. I think it was something I saw on social media. And I was like, oh my God, I totally forgot about this movie. And I wonder if I receive it a little different than I once did as a teenager. I think was the first time I saw it, maybe. So yeah, check out that conversation. All right, so let's hop right into my pick of the week. This week, my pick of the week is Ulta. I am an Ulta over Sephora girl. I know that may be a controversial pick for some people, but I just think the Ulta shopping experience is way better than Sephora. One, Ultas are usually bigger, they're brighter, the aisles are wider. And so for that, I like it. You have a more wider selection of things. You can also get some of the drugstore brands, some of the things that you would get in a Target. I don't know if you're boycotting Target, but I'm down for the cause of the people. I haven't been into a Target. And so some of the things that I would get in Target, I can get in Ulta. Also, the biggest reason why Ulta is so much better than Sephora is the points reward system. I really just been stacking my points for everything that I shopped last year. And the lady told me I had $160 something worth of rewards that I could use to get stuff. You stack up those points over at over at Sephora, and it's like, here, you can have this mini 0.001 ounce Tatcha cream that you can't even apply over your whole face to see if you even like it or use it multiple times. So I'm just not a big Sephora fan. Not to say I don't shop there, because there are some things that I can't get at Ulta that I have to get there. In particular, the Palo Santo Pattern Beauty leave-in conditioner that's only at Sephora. But overall, I prefer to shop at Ulta. And Beyonce does too. I'm joking. I don't know if that's true, but I know Sacred is coming to Ulta and not Sephora. And maybe it'll come to Sephora later, but she picked Ulta first. So shout out to Ulta, because I just think it is leaps and bounds better than Sephora.
Housekeeping. Come back later, please. Housekeeping. Not now.
All right, so let's hop right into our housekeeping. You guys really enjoyed last week's episode, Redefining Good Sex with Dr. Candace Nicole. Someone said, Booney, I had already brought her books. I was really excited to see that she was on the pod. I really loved the angles, and the conversation around green flags made me think about something. Booney, I think you pointed out something really good. We always talk about what we like done to ourselves as likes, but we never really talk about green flags in the sexual arena. Really enjoyed a dope episode. So yes, thank you for listening and sending that in via DM. And I just want to point out to you all that our Patreon community will be having a book club session with Dr. Candace Nicole on March 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So if you would like to join in that session, you have the book and you would like to have an intimate conversation with Dr. Candace Nicole, you can head on over to patreon.com/The Booney Breakdown. We'll be migrating from Patreon in a couple weeks. So if you would like to get in before we switch subscriber communities, please feel free to join. So I look forward to you all being there. Also, I got a question about how can you send in listener questions? And I'm sure this comes after the episode we did with our problematic fave to kick off our season. And so literally what you can do with your listener letters, if you have a question, if you want it answered by me only, if you want it answered by problematic fave, if you want the homie Shika, or even if you want our responsible fave to weigh in on it, all you have to do is either shoot me a DM and ask, or you can send an email to thebooniebreakdown@gmail.com, or you can head on over to thebooniebreakdown.com and do the contact page. That's a way to stay truly anonymous, because you could put in BS for the name and email. You don't have to put in a valid one. You can put in whatever you want and just put it in the contact form, and I will get an email with it. That is a way to stay truly anonymous if it's a question that you would like some feedback on. So I never even thought that that needed to be explained, but I thought if that person had the question, maybe someone else did too. And so I just wanted to make sure that you all knew how to do that. All right. So just remember, we're most active and pretty much primarily on Instagram. Follow us at the Boonie Breakdown. That's it. So let's just get ready to break it down, guys. Look, she already started, y'all. So we got the homie Shika here. Look, we was lamenting. We said we're not going to talk about too much of what's happening in the world.
No.
We're not going to do that. We're going to try to do a good little kiki. But we were just talking about, I am the queen of treat yourself.
Yes. I like to treat myself too. My mama is. Maybe it's a Sagittarius thing because when I need to be convinced to buy something, I call my mom. I'll be like, Mom, I saw that you should get it. I'm like,
I can make you spend some money now, okay? And it's so funny. That's funny. Your mom just said, my mom's a Cancer. They're like, we're like embers.
Yeah.
But no, I did so good. I did a no by January, and I did so good. Some of the money that I saved by not spending, I did donate to the Altadena fire. Some of those stories I saw, but I literally realized not doing the no by January, how impulsive of a shopper I am.
Yes.
Like I see it, I want it, I get it. I wouldn't think about stuff. And doing the no by January made me realize how much of a dopamine hit I get from shopping because it was driving me crazy.
Spending money makes me feel good. I don't know.
It does.
Well, maybe I don't know if that dates back to like our roots of slavery and not having shit.
I don't know, because I could blow some motherfucking money. Now, I'm also a saver.
I do save.
Like, I do save. And I do my savings automatic. I can't do like, oh, let me move. No, because I'm not going to do it. But if it's like, I have it automatically out the paycheck and I got a couple pots of money to go to, right? It's like, one is like emergency savings. One is like the savings that is like, oh, I overspent this month. Let me go get some more money. And then one is my travel pot.
Yeah. Okay.
So
yeah, I should do multiples though. I do not have savings associated with a card though. So I typically I do like the online shit, like a market.
My true emergency and the play one, those don't have cards. So I have to go. It's inconvenient to get it.
Yeah.
But my travel one is with a card, but I forget about it because it's not at my bank that I use for my everyday stuff.
Right.
So I have to consciously be like, oh yeah. And it is too much of a hassle to do, but I do have a card because I use that card when I travel. So if I do use that money, it really is dire, and I ain't touched that in a while. But I try to keep that truly my travel pot because I like to travel.
Things like, save this amount every week to get $10,000 at the end of the year. And I do be forgetting. But what I try to be good at is like, if I forgot for like 3 weeks, I'll put the total amount of the 3 weeks that belongs in there. And that might be, $700. I'll pull it and fucking do it.
Look, I said that I didn't know by January with all that was happening in the world. I needed a dopamine hit. Went to the motherfucking mall. Now, when the last time you been to the mall to like shop? It felt good.
I do go to Pentagon City every once. I go to Pentagon City like once or twice a year. I probably haven't been since last spring.
Okay. So I went to the mall and I went to do a return. So unfortunately, boo, because Anthropologie does not carry plus sizes in the store, I had to order it online. And something I had ordered a while ago that I kind of forgot about, it was back ordered and it showed up, but it didn't fit. So I had to take it back to the store. So since I was at the Anthropologie, I'm like, well, let me mosey on in here. And where Anthropologie is at that mall is right next to the Sephora, the Coach store. So I went to Coach, treated me to a little something. And it's something small, a little small leather good. Went to Sephora, got a perfume, some Pattern Beauty, topicals, lip balm. Then I went to Macy's.
Right.
I had a good old time. Now you know where I didn't go to? I did not go to Target. I am holding strong. I have not shopped in Target.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I was in Target actually.
I haven't been. And I will say I did go right before it was like shut it down.
Mhm.
And what I do, I think I said this on the pod before, I save all of my Target circle points, the
Mhm.
money back. And then when you go in Target, it's like buy this and get a $5 gift card, buy this, get a $10. I save all those promotional gift cards and my Target circle money. And then in January, I go like last year I re-upped on new towels. And one year I'll go buy like sheets because they always put them on like 30 or 40% off in January. And then I use all my money and swap out those. So that's what I spent my money on. So when I went, I only spent 62 cents. So
That's smart though. That's a smart way to do it.
mhm.
Yeah, I've been trying not to shop. I did buy some shit from Coach in January. I showed you and you was like, "Oh yeah, it's a no shop." I was like, "Oh, great for you." I didn't obviously I didn't participate, but it was on sale. It was a good sale. It was like,
And it was cute what you got.
"Oh,
It was cute.
like, let me go ahead and buy this real
I
quick."
was tempted when you sent it. I said 150.
It was on sale. That was a good sale. It
No,
wasn't
it
like
was a
it
good purchase.
wasn't even 20% off. It was a good sale. But I don't think I've shopped since then. No.
Okay.
Outside
Yeah,
of
now.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm a hunker down right now. But it did feel good to shop. Even earlier today, I got a anthropology. So I shop anthropology sale because anthropology is expensive. So I put everything like in my cart or my save for later. And when they be like, I got an email today, like an extra 50% off sale. I said, oh, let me go see if anything in my cart or my saved later is on sale. And if it is, then I'll be like, all right, do you really want this?
yeah.
But
Go
I
through
didn't.
the checklist.
So I was like, okay, it's nothing on here that I absolutely could not live without. So I didn't buy anything. But that's the only time I shop anthropology.
Yeah.
But it's a good one.
I
You
haven't
know what?
even done promotion emails like that. I just be like, whatever.
It'd be
Like, if
too
I'm in
much
the mood to buy
sometimes.
something, I'll just go look for it and then go from there.
It'd be too much sometimes.
Everything's too much.
You know what else I would like to treat myself to? Dick.
Well, I thought you was gonna say that. Like, yeah, treat yourself.
That's what I would like to treat myself to.
You should.
We got to pour out a 40. My good old faithful moved.
Oh no, he already gone? Damn, that was quick.
Gone. One Denzel tear.
18. Oh,
That and it's like, okay.
and you being out and about, like, I don't know, because that's the thing. The hardest part is meeting somebody. It's like, where do you meet people? Like,
The hardest part is meeting somebody. So yeah, I agree with that sentiment. The hardest part is meeting somebody. And then it's like meeting somebody who's not gonna piss you the fuck off too.
it,
Um, and you enjoy being around, right? Like I've had some good cuddy buddies over the years. My old faithful was one of my faves, and even though he's gone, we've been texting and talking a lot.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I'm just like, Lord, I'm not gonna make it. This 2025 is shaping up to be very rocky.
it's very rough. It's very rough.
And I'm gonna need some
I'm not
physical.
always in the mood to fight back. I would like, fuck it. Sometimes, like, I don't have it.
And that's the thing, like, yeah, I want to say fuck it and fuck me. Like, that's what I want to say.
Yeah.
So that would be nice. My lips to God's
Well,
ears.
yeah. Look out for my good sis, you know?
Ask not, want not. So
Actually, gotta say it out loud. That's what they call manifestation, you know? You're manifesting.
I am. And I'm very hopeful
Mhm.
that it will come to fruition because, baby girl,
You'll be outside for a little bit, so maybe we'll see
I'm going
that.
to try to be in these streets. I'm going to try to be in these streets.
They're
Because,
not
yeah,
gonna all into the living room. It just doesn't. It
I
doesn't
wish
quite.
they would. Now, you want to know something earlier today?
Okay.
I was in the Costco
Hmm.
and I said, I'm new to Costco, one, because I'm like, I'm single. Why do I need to buy in Costco? But then Mama Ratchet and I were like making a plan, like, okay, well, maybe we can split the meats
Stuff. Yeah.
and we can break this stuff down. Like, I don't need two 48-ounce bottles of Worcestershire sauce. You can take one, I can take one, but we can split
Yeah.
this cost. So, yeah.
And paper towels from there. Because I only have to do it like every 5 months or so. I get it from Costco. So I do go there, which I need to go soon. Yeah, they
And
be in the grocery stores and shit. They be in the store.
they be in there. And I was in the parking lot. I didn't even get in the Costco. And I said, oh, wait a minute. I parked next to one. The salt and peppers, the gray hairs. I said, oh, it's the Zaddies that's in Costco. Then there
Yeah.
was one guy I was flirting with him, and he was like, man, I'm in a relationship. And he said something, and then we kind of disconnected. Then we ended up in the aisle again. And he said, not you following me. I said, not you flirting back. I thought you was in a relationship.
Stay away from them.
Then
That's
seen him in the
like,
parking lot. He was like, all right now. I said, it may be the universe.
I break up with her. That's so mean. I'm sorry.
So yeah.
And it's one of those days, you know? And then, you just chit chat. Sometimes a little chit chat, and then I'll be keeping it moving though, because I don't know. I'll be
Yeah,
feeling
you gotta put that energy out there. So we had already knew the
taking it.
Wegmans. We
Yeah.
always knew the niggas was in Wegmans, but apparently Costco. I'm late to the game, so I'm about to be in the Costco.
Yeah. I know some guy friends that go to Costco. I've ran into some in Costco. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's it. But that's it. So, okay, y'all.
What we really here for.
What we're really here for. I hit up Shika and I was like, hey girl, hey. So we do shit who hits different. And how about Showgirls? Do you know where that's streaming? And it was hard to find it. It was
No.
only on Tubi.
I've never used Tubi on my TV before today or yesterday when I watched it. Never.
I only see the clips of the Tubi movies on Instagram, but I've never watched one. So Showgirls is on Tubi, and we did a shit that hits different. Now, it was some things about Showgirls. Before we get into the meat and potatoes, I remember when Showgirls came out. It was a big deal because I think for me, it was the first movie I remember hearing about being NC-17.
Yes, me and my homeboy, when I told him I was watching it, he was like, yo, that's the first NC-17 movie I ever saw. I'm like, yeah, I remember the billboards in the train stations. Like,
Yeah.
I distinctly remember how everything looked. It was a big deal. It was a
Yeah, it was a big deal. And then it was a big deal because it was our precious
Jesse.
Elizabeth Berkley, Jessie from Saved by the Bell was
The
like,
nerd.
"Oh my god."
Yeah.
I will say this about the movie. I think it is ahead of its time a bit. Cuz I think rewatching it cuz shit hits different. I
Mhm.
remember sneak watching it cuz my grandmother had one of those big NASA satellite television things for her house.
Yeah.
And I remember sneak watching it one time because it was when it finally got to cable or whatever, and I was like, it was just so risque for the 90s, like, and to be so young.
Gee, it was
But
very.
I'm watching it now, like, that shit was risque.
Oh, I wrote down. I was like, I didn't know they showed pussy in the movie. Like, I did not remember.
Yeah,
Remember titties, but I was like, I don't remember seeing
I
anybody
wrote down she
vagina in
was
the movie.
naked, naked. I wrote she was naked, naked.
I wrote she was naked, naked, and I was like, I forgot her coochie was out. Like, why was it out? What was going on?
And
Everybody's was.
her body was sick.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a typical white, skinny white girl aesthetic, but I can appreciate the work she probably had to do to get that body right, to be naked, naked in
Yeah.
multiple
People
parts.
naked, naked. I
A
was so
lot of people were naked.
I was like, "There's what? I don't recall."
A lot of people were naked. Like, I'm just like, just by the sheer amount of nudity in them. And I don't think we saw any frontal male nudity,
No.
but the women were naked.
Yeah, fully naked. I was like, "Oh, they made this movie for white men." Like, that's what they made this movie. That's one of the things I was like, "Oh, this is a movie for white men." Like, what the fuck is going on here?
I still think I could not get over how like
Oh,
that was a big deal then. And she took a big risk to jump from Saved by the Bell to do that.
has she hasn't done much since then, has she?
She hasn't. I looked it up to see because the only two things I really remember her in besides Saved by the Bell was First Wives Club and Showgirls.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I was like, have she done, like, Lifetime movies or something? I feel like I've seen her somewhere, but not frequently, and maybe I haven't. Maybe somebody looks like her.
Yeah, I'm looking like she did First Wives Club. She was in Any Given Sunday. I don't remember her in that. The rest of the stuff I've never even heard of. The Shipment.
Oh.
But on TV, she did Saved by the Bell. Step by Step, it looked like she had a character. The movie Saved by the Bell.
Oh, yeah.
The other Saved by the Bell movie. She was in an episode of NYPD Blue, CSI.
That's where yes, with Horatio. She was on CSI Miami, I think.
Yeah.
Hey, one of Horatio's exes or some shit. Okay, that's where I was seeing her. Yes.
But yeah, it doesn't look like she's had too big. She was on the L Word, it said, season 6.
And I watched the shit out the L Word. I probably saw her there. I haven't watched it in a
But
while.
yeah, nothing like, yeah. So I'm sure if this movie came out now, like if she was on some teeny show and went to that type of movie now, she probably would have a massive career. But in
Yeah.
the
Back
90s,
then, no,
that she killed her career by doing this.
definitely killed her. Because also, like, it was very nostalgic when it started off because the MGM lion. I was like, "Oh my god, do they still do that? Does the lion
Oh.
still roar?"
Right.
Right? I was like, "Oh, I remember I used to like that," but I rarely go to a movie. But also, like, the movie was fucking bad. Can we like, it was terrible acting. I mean, okay, maybe I didn't hate it, but I never need to watch it again.
So my thing is this, yeah, I don't think it's a classic for me where it's like, yep, let me rewatch Showgirls. Do I think it was as bad as people claimed it to be? No. Did it have cheesiness to it? Yes. One of the things I wrote down was when they would show clips from the show, the, and I was like, this is terrible. And was Vegas that cheesy? Vegas has done a massive rebrand because like this theater
Oh,
was,
they still do these showgirl
yeah,
things? I
I
didn't
was
even know.
wondering. Like that theater was packed. And I'm like, who was like, yes, let me buy a ticket to this
White lady
show?
dance with the nudity, like, because they didn't use no words. I don't
It
remember
was no dialogue. It was just like pow
like
pow.
movement, with fire and shit and
And
glitter.
just a lot of I wrote too like this dancing is wild. This show is
The
terrible.
dancing was terrible.
Um I also think a few things that I wrote because I'm nitpicking as I'm watching it was the dialogue. Um some of the things that the men said to her, I'm like when she's leaving the strip club to be like, I got a spot in the show. And the guy was like, sooner or later, you're going to have to sell it. Who says that to
Yeah.
somebody?
No, and the fact that the little black dude, he called everybody bitch. And I was like, "What are you
He was
talking?"
like, why you got a chip on your shoulder, bitch? Like,
Then the lady, he was engaged to, he was like, "Yeah, bitch, get me a drink." And I was like, "What?" And then he was like, "Yeah, we got engaged." What is going
the
on?
black guy was so terrible. I remember being like, when him and her were dancing in the club, why was the dancing so aggressive? It was like,
All of that.
everything was just so intense and aggressive.
I don't know what kind of dancing that is. Is it like interpretive? I don't know what it is, but all that No, I hated everybody dancing. Even his little dance he made up. I was like, why the fuck do he feel like he should be paid for this? What is going on? Why did this movie even come the fuck out? Like, was Showgirls that popular back then? I'm so confused
I
as
needed
to why we
context
needed
too.
this.
I needed a lot of context too. The other thing is the big mama at the strip club, I guess the house mother.
Who
Why
was
did her
this?
tits sit like that?
I'm like, was it plastic on them? It looked like plastic. I was like, you know, those plastic, the like silicone nipple covers. I was like, is that what she has on? Because what is going on?
I literally wrote down the strip club lady. How are her tits sitting up like that?
And why was it like shiny? Like it was weird. Like it was some. I'm like, are these prosthetic?
Yeah.
Like what? And why does she have to have fake titties when everybody else real titties going out? Is it fat shaming? Like I was just like, what's going on with her titties? Because these don't look real.
They do not look real. I also was like watching it, and we gotta go back to the black guy. He was definitely stalking her, one,
Yeah.
because he just kept popping up. And two, like, why were you so invested in her? Like, after the dance thing, you bailed her out of jail, you follow her to work, you then insulted her and was like, you fucking them without fucking them.
When he was kept yelling that she fucked that man, I was like, why do you care,
And then
woman?
you watched her do the strip
But I'm
tease.
like, but then she also didn't fuck him. Like, what's going on? And
You
then
fucking him without fucking him.
and then I was like, oh, okay, we're in our hotep bag. Okay, I see where we're going with it, but like, don't
That was
be
wild.
why was he invested with her? At first, I was doing like writing notes as like things were happening, but then I just had to stop because I was like, this is it. Like, I was like, why she vomit? When she got into it with the black girl, why did she vomit? What made her vomit? She like slapped her. Why would you throw up? Who wrote that in there? I hit the rewind because I was like, did she punch her in the stomach? No contact with her stomach, but she just threw up. What's going on?
It was just so much that it was just so much that I said,
Chaotic.
this is why this is not a classic. If the dialogue would have been a little better and the plot line, I do think it had the makings to be a classic. Now, we have to talk about Nomi and Crystal. This weird lesbian sexual tension the two of them had. The fascination about Nomi doing nails, and the nails were basic as fuck.
What even was that?
I don't know.
But I was like, oh, 1990, whatever. Like, okay.
Yeah, I was like, these nails are so basic. She's like, I did them myself.
Yeah, it looked like you put two colors.
Yeah, I was like, what am I looking at?
Know
But Gina Gershon's lips bothered me a lot in this movie.
like she just.
She just did. I don't know how she was doing it,
That's
but
like
that sexual tension between them was really. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I
had a good time, I guess, because I was like, why are they making her like now she's bisexual? Like, what's going on? Because she was for the lap dance, she was like, I'll do one for you too, or something. And it was like, is this like why have the because it seems like competition and jealousy, but why is it now like
with Lade was I want to fuck you.
Yeah,
but I will say that lap dance she gave Zach though.
I needed to understand all that bucking she was doing.
It was a lot. I said, damn.
In the pool when it was supposed to be them having
So the
sex.
pool
I was like,
scene,
why is she bucking?
She was like,
no. I'm like, is she having an out of body experience because it's been so long? I was trying to understand.
It was a lot of motion.
Symbolic and
I was watching that lap dance like.
No, she
and
did.
That's when it made me realize, like, oh, that's her pussy. Like, we're looking at her pussy.
Right.
Like, she's naked.
Yeah.
And then I had a thought, like, is this secretly why I loved Trey McDougal so much?
Was that Trey McDougal? I
That
thought it
is
was him.
Trey
So,
McDougal.
but then
He had the sleazy.
what did he do? He did
He was in the Flintstones too, remember? With Halle
yeah.
Berry.
He
Because it made
changed
me go back and look up
one.
Kyle McLaughlin, or however you say his name. And I'm like, he had a little run, and I'm like, shit, this is probably why I love Trey McDougal. Sneaking and watching Showgirls when I was young, and I thought he was fine in the Flintstones. He was Cliff, like the big boss of the quarry.
Yeah. He changed his face a little because when I tell you, convinced myself it was him and it wasn't him like 17 times in the movie. I was like, that is, and I was
It's,
like, is it?
it
So
was
I think
Trey.
or something in his mouth area is a little different because that's what was throwing me off.
Yeah, it was Trey McDougal. So,
Oof.
I was like, I think this is why I loved Trey McDougal.
I
I
didn't
mean, the
have
scene where he pulled the crystal on her titties, like, and I'm like, how you act that? Because you were like sucking her titty and you poured champagne on it. Like, that's not acting.
or yeah, no. Even the guy who was terrible was fighting. First of
Her-
all, that was the most. I did
The
not
rape scene,
didn't need the rape scene. It was so,
I did not watch it. I
and
muted.
I didn't know. Like I totally forgot
I forgot until it
until
started to come, until it happened.
until it started. And I was like, oh, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. I
Yeah,
didn't.
cousin Faith,
That is cousin Faith. Yeah, maybe
cousin
that's why
Faith.
I had a soft spot for her because
She got raped like that. I didn't
it
remember
was
that.
so brutal, and I was like, we did not need this.
Yeah, but you know what? I said I fuck with Nomi because she went back and handled that shit though.
Oh, she was okay.
Yeah, she became like a samurai.
Mama had many lives because I was like, I get she's kicking this shit with the dancing, but the way y'all got her spinning around and kicking this nigga in the mouth is like it's giving samurai.
She like a
Going
bad bitch
on.
though with the
Little
thigh high
joint
boot.
back. It was too much. I was just like, okay, so she's also a fighter. Okay. Cause she was
No,
kicking
it
the
was
shit
a
out
lot. No, she was kicking the shit out of his. But I said I fuck with it. You went back and took care of that shit for your girl
yeah.
before you got up out of town. But then I would have been like, if I was a black girl, I'd have been like, bitch, I can't even let you live with me.
First of all, I made you clothes.
You came and lived with me. We were friends.
Okay, can I be for real though? Like Cousin Faye kind of blew me a little bit because I was just like, I mean, okay. I guess if your friend pushed somebody down the steps and they had an injury, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you could think like, oh, you're a terrible person. But
She
I
was doing a lot, though.
felt like she was carrying it too hard. You know, the lady been in a fucked up life. The nigga stole her suitcase so that she tried to get here. Like, you know, like you've been helping her. I just like, and you knew this lady was basically hazing her the whole fucking time. Like, okay,
The
but she
black girl,
dragging it.
it was a couple times. The black girl who the other girl pushed down the steps,
Why did that white girl have braids? The
that
whole
bothered me.
I wrote it down. I said, "Does this white woman have braids?"
The white girl had braids, then pushed the black lady down the steps. But the black lady did have it coming, can't even lie. Um,
She cussed her.
so no, she didn't push her down the steps. She dropped the beads on stage so she could fall.
I feel like
But
if they curse our kids out, they could have kept their beef going.
the
But she
kids is what
did
did it.
that.
Yeah, bitch. You
She
got
drew the line.
yeah, she crossed the line. It was just a lot in this movie. The movie was a lot. And I also did not realize how long it was.
Fucking hours. I started it yesterday, like maybe around 4, and I was like, 2 hours. And Tubi has ads, y'all. I don't know if y'all knew that, but
I didn't
I
know
didn't know they
either.
had ads. I
But
was like, God damn it.
so the low points of it was another dialogue sentence I wrote down when the strip club madam and the strip club owner came to see her in the show once she became the new Crystal. Um, and he said to her, "It must be weird not having anybody come on you."
Yeah. First of all, everything he was saying was out of pocket.
Bitch, you should have been karate kicking him in the mouth.
Exactly. You won't have to give me a blowjob sooner or later. Like, what is
And then, wait a minute, I forgot. Then the black guy got the coworker pregnant and was like, "We getting married."
Yeah, that's after you said, "Bitch, go get me a drink," and I was like, "Why are you talking to people like this? What's going? Like, why would you?" It, he called. First of all, I was like, you are infatuated with white ladies. Second of all, is it so that you can call them bitches? Because I just feel like, oh no, sir.
We got a white lady bitch fetish.
Like you want to get with them so you can call them bitches. Okay, I mean, get your reparations as you see fit. I don't know what I don't know what you got going on, sir. But if that's what you want to do, and I was just like, and then I also in my memory swore they had sex, but maybe seeing it young, it looked like sex between Oni and him, but they never really had
They
sex.
didn't. He just felt her period. She's like, "I'm on my period."
Bitch.
He was like, "Told you." Like the
Yeah.
dialogue was so
Why did y'all
terrible.
put this in here? That was so unnecessary.
So it says audience restriction due to NC-17 rating coupled with poor reviews resulted in the film becoming a box office bomb. It grossed just $37.8 million against a $45 million budget. However, despite negative theatrical and critical consensus, Showgirls enjoyed success on the home video VHS market.
People were too shamed
To go to the movies,
to
but
go to the movies
they
and
was at home.
whacking. Yeah. Yeah.
It says it generated more than $100 million from rentals alone.
Wow. Yeah.
Since the video release, Showgirls has come to become one of MGM's top 20 all-time bestsellers. For its in-home video release, I can't pronounce that company's name, prepared an R-rated edition for rental outlets that could and would not carry NC-17 films. The R-rated version runs 3 minutes shorter. That's it? That's all you cut was 3 minutes? Omitting some footage deemed to be more graphic. The version was later available on television, such as HBO and In Demand. Showgirls was universally panned upon its cinematic release and is still consistently ranked as one of the worst films of all time. Despite this, in the 21st century, it has been regarded as a cult film with a dedicated fan base.
Yeah. Those who love Jesse, because I said it. It was terrible. I was like, oh, I don't think anything that we've watched that I felt that strongly how bad it was. Now, Love Jones was not great. We're not going to get into it.
But it's still, I'll let it keep its classic status.
Yeah, but this, I was like, why
No,
did
this is really terrible.
Like, why do we need this as a United States of America? Like, what was going on at the time that we needed this? Because they could have kept it. They definitely could have kept it.
Yeah, I mean, but I will kudos to Elizabeth Berkley. That body was bodying, okay? And then it was just
I don't feel like I remember hearing, probably through the grapevines, tabloids, whatever, Oprah, that maybe she was working out a lot or something like that. Like she really, or like training too with the dancing. Cause I don't think she was like,
yeah, no, the dancing. I mean, when she was on the pole, like you could definitely tell she practiced. I just pulled this up. Trey McDougal recalled seeing the film for the first time at the premiere. He said, "I was absolutely gobsmacked. I said, this is horrible, horrible." And it's a very slow sinking feeling when you're watching the movie and the first scene comes on and you're like, "Oh, that's a really bad scene." But you say, "Well, that's okay. The next one will be better." And you try to somehow convince yourself that it's going to get better and it just gets worse. And I was like, wow, that was crazy. He said, I really didn't see it coming. So at that point, I distanced myself from the movie. And now, of course, it has taking on a whole sort of life satire. No, satire isn't the right word, but it is inadvertently funny. So it's found its place. It provides entertainment, though not in a way I think it was originally intended. It was just maybe the wrong material with the wrong director and the wrong cast.
Yeah, I did chuckle sometimes because it was absolutely ridiculous.
It was terrible. Elizabeth Berkley was dropped by her agent following the film's release. Other agents refused to take her phone calls.
Wow.
In 2013, she said the film's critical reception made her stop dancing. So she was a dancer, not probably a stripper, but a dancer.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Wow.
Wow.
I didn't like that the black dude was like, with your natural talent. I was like, okay, that's a stretch. Like, she is dancing chaotically. Like,
I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. I was looking, it was some other stat I saw, but now I should have screenshot it because I can't find it now. Yeah, I can't find it now. It says that's what it was. In March of 2024, the Academy Museum held a screening of Showgirls in Los Angeles with an introduction by Elizabeth Berkley herself, who received 3 standing ovations by the sold out crowd. So yeah, it seems like in the decades after the movie, it says that it generated a critical discussion around its themes of patriarchal culture, the American dream, and the nature of sex work. So I think, yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
it probably was ahead of its time, and also, yeah, it wasn't that great. But
and I think the thing that bothered me too about the rape scene was that it wasn't just a rape scene; it was a gang rape.
yeah, and
Like it was just so graphic.
he was drooling on her. They punched her in her face a couple of times. I was like,
It was really a lot. And so this is the one I found. Somebody was saying like the violence of the gang rape scene was generated criticism and debate, while some describing it being in poor taste and completely unnecessary to the plot. It was brutal because it happened to the film's only prominent woman of color.
mm.
And it says, I didn't really think it was necessary. They used Molly's brutalization as a way for Nomi to find herself, and I think it was disgusting. Which that was the part that I didn't even think about because that was her redemption arc was
Yeah,
that, even though it happened very quick.
yeah, you were
Yeah.
fine, being a little bit of a villain, pushing old girl out the way, taking her spot type shit. Yeah.
And so they apparently, and here's your fun fact as I was digging after I watched it. Did you know there was a sequel? It was supposed to be a sequel.
I feel like I remember hearing something about that. I didn't think about it when I was watching it, so it never came out.
So it says that the studio had already agreed to do the sequel before Showgirls was released in theaters. With the final scene of a sign for Los Angeles hinting at a plot where Nomi takes on Hollywood. However, the studio dropped the plans for the sequel after how poorly the film did at the box office. It says a sequel focusing on a minor character, Penny, was released in 2011, titled Showgirls 2. Pennies
Okay,
from Heaven.
so I was gonna say I remember, if I did remember one, it was that Jesse wasn't in it, or
Nope,
Elizabeth.
yeah, it was another one in 2011. So I am sure that film was worse because when I looked it up, it was like the budget was only like 30 grand. So if that's what they gave us with 45 million, I can't imagine what a $30,000 version of this would be.
A Tubi movie.
Yeah. So Showgirls, not a classic.
No.
I never needed to watch it again.
Nope.
Elizabeth Berkley's body was sick.
Yes.
The titties was sitting. The stomach pussy was aboard. She had no ass, but you
Believe
know,
believe
but
it.
but it was a nice white girl body, right? Like,
It was shaming her titties. He was like, "You need ice for your nipples." I was like, "Oh."
yeah, that scene was so degrading.
I was like, "What's going on?
It was a
What?"
lot.
Like, your nipples
Yeah,
are inverted, and I was like, "They're first of all, she's topless. I'm sure they're not inverted because
it was a lot.
it was a lot."
It
And,
was a lot.
maybe it was a cautionary tale for somebody wanting to move to Vegas. White girl moving to Vegas looking to be a showgirl. I don't really know.
Yeah, but so yeah, Showgirls, you know, it
Also,
did.
at the ending, what the fuck was going on at the end? She ended up with the guy who she hitchhiked with originally.
It's like, give me my suitcase. Like, what?
Yeah,
That was
they were
9 months ago.
they were on like 5 accidents that's every time they were in a car together. That was outrageous. And then it was like the sign was like 280 miles to Vegas. So I was like, is she going back? I don't know what this means.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
They
know.
didn't even wrap it in a bow for us, so whatever.
Yeah, and then it panned out and was her billboard, her as a
Yeah,
showgirl.
that's why I was like, is she going back or is she going
She
away?
made it. She made it. I
They
don't.
were going towards the 280
I
sign.
know. I don't know.
Like, yeah, I didn't get it.
So yeah. I don't need to see it again, but I remember being thrilled by it as like, oh, because it was just so like, but watching it as an adult, like that shit is terrible.
0 stars. Like, it was not good at all. Thumbs down.
Now, you know what I wish I had done to be taking an edible and watched it? It may be a different reception.
I smoked some weed. That's
Oh,
fine.
okay. Well, never mind.
No, literally, I was not pressing play without having my stuff together because I was like, this is probably gonna piss me off. So I'm gonna just be prepared. And I was just like, what is going on the whole time? And everybody was bad acting. They're not even bad actors. You know what I mean? Like, everybody in the movie aren't bad actors, but
I think it because the dialogue was so bad. Like, how
because
can
you
you say
act that out
fucking
well.
him without fucking him? So why that line is burned in my brain?
He was so mad, and he said it so hard, and I was
That
like,
is so hard.
and
Oh
he's
my god!
an actor. I've
But
seen that shit.
yeah, I've seen him in other shit. What was his name in the movie? I can't even remember. Did we get his name?
Umar, I don't know. Maybe I
Not
made
Omar. Shit. But no, I do. I want to. Has anybody ever asked her like, what was your motive behind that pool sex scene?
I swear all I heard was Beyonce bucket. I was like, what?
No,
That's
she was like, how did she not
so
snap her neck?
regularly. It was regular at first, and then I was
Because at first she had
happened.
started. At first she had started underwater giving him head.
Right, which I was like dangerous, but I guess.
And then it was like the crystal bottle was like bobbing in the water. And I was like, okay. And then it was just like, okay, they fucking. And then I was like, wow, what happened? But she really was just flopping around on that water.
Yeah, like a fucking fish or a horse bucking. It was just, I was like, there's no way he's still inside of you. Like, it didn't even, like, nobody's, you cannot do that.
And at one point, I was like, is she going to drown? Because the waterfall was like over her. And so it was like, oh
she
my
slipped back
God.
into it.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, she's going to drown. Like,
Right. Like,
yeah.
they,
All right. How about you try it? Because you know what I'm going to deem? I am going to deem the pool sex scene of Showgirls the most ridiculous sex scene I've ever seen, ever. I can't think of another sex scene that I've watched that was more ridiculous.
probably not, no. And very unsexy. Once you
Yeah,
got,
because that didn't get me a little that the lap dance. I was like, oh wait a minute.
but you did it then too. Towards the
He
end, that's why
did.
boy was like, you was fucking him. And I'm like, well, I mean, ma'am, you now I've seen everything. To be fair, you do fuck like that. So I don't
You know
yeah,
that scene, and I don't
yeah.
know because I have like a little slight voyeurism kink. So the girl watching it, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is hot. But
No,
that was
that
the only time in the
hotter than
movie
was
where I
hotter
was
than
like,
thing by far. Yeah.
that's the
The
only
next
time where my eyebrow went up. But the rest of it, it was just like, okay, this is
scene and that sex scene was just thumbs down. Hated
it.
it.
Hated it to not. Well, no, you said 0 out of 10, 0 stars. So yeah, we did our due diligence. I think this might have been the first white movie we ever did.
It is, I think. I think
I
so.
really think so.
Yeah, no, we typically are watching the black
We'll
classic.
go back to black classics unless you have one. If you have a movie that you think, question: have we ever done Boomerang?
No, and you know, Boomerang is my fave.
Maybe we need to do Boomerang next.
We could do Boomerang because Boomerang is one of my favorite movies and soundtracks. That soundtrack,
It's a good soundtrack. It's a good soundtrack. Okay, maybe we need to do Boomerang next. But yeah, if you have any movies that you would like Shika and I to do a shit that hits different, please let us know. We will add it to the list because yes,
this is the only time
you
we
know,
watch movies.
you know, you know what? One of my like, even though I just said I'd never seen one, but I kind of want to be in a Tubi movie.
I, you know, between Tubi movies and like those Nigerian movies.
Oh, Mama Ratchet be getting me watching those because her Netflix suggestions are completely different than mine. I'm like, how you get this
Well, when I
suggestion?
do my hair braided, we be watching it, and I be invested. Okay, is it ridiculous? It is, but I find myself invested. But Tubi movies, it's like my god. So I'm gonna tell you about one, and this is how ridiculous it was. My nail tech had me watching it, right?
Okay.
It was supposed to be the story of these two trans women who were like tricking men to be in love with them, and they tricking on them and all this other stuff. But the two trans women were actually women in real life, one, and then they were supposed to also still have their penises, right? So homegirl goes to pee one morning, right? This bitch was like 10 feet from the toilet, like her shit just streamed. I was like, why would they do that?
Not a jet stream.
Okay, why? Like they show her like positioning and then standing, then you get like some shadow. And I was like, no man pees that far from the toilet.
Or maybe they do, and that's why the toilets be all pissy.
Adrian, it was so dramatic. Like she might as well went out of the bathroom. It was really it was ridiculous enough for me getting my nails done. I was like, why she so far from the toilet? And I'm like, oh, this is how they letting us know that she has a penis. What? Why?
We should make a movie.
Let me tell you something. And it was a part 1 and 2 to that movie. And my homegirl was like, oh no, you should watch the other part. And I was like,
Yeah, like, no, thank you.
I saw the first one. And it just yeah.
Yeah, she goes like,
Terrible.
no.
And just some of the situations, I was just like, you could have stood close to the toilet to pee. Like, I already see you put the seat up. Now you're gonna stand 10 feet away from it. And you're also like, you don't have a penis. So it just was strange. It was very strange. And I was like, why y'all pick this story? I don't know. It was too much.
Yeah, I really do have a wish to be like in a Tubi movie.
That will be the day you'll probably become a meme because they be memeing them
Oh
too.
my God, you're right. Never mind. You know, that is a greatest fear. Have you
I'm about to say
guys
you gonna face your greatest fear.
ever seen with a wish? Did you ever everybody seen that meme of that big black muscular guy that has that big penis? He's like sitting on the edge of the bed and it's that big it's like an elephant trunk. Yeah. Did you ever read the story behind that meme? I think that's where my fear of becoming a meme comes from because the picture was like altered. That's obviously not the size of his penis, but it was like how this man like stumbled into posing for new pictures. It was kind of like a tragic story and he's deceased. And so his family was trying to get the image like scrubbed off, but it's gone so viral that like it's pretty much a lost cause for them. And they were just like, it was like a bad moment in his life that they have to relive over and over again. And so I think that is where my fear of becoming a meme is like after I read that story about that man.
Yeah, 'cause that's sad. That is sad. I didn't know any of that, but I know the exact picture you're talking about. Oh,
Yeah. Then the last thing before we wrap up,
yeah.
I had shared with the Patreon in our Discord a podcast that was on the New York Times Daily podcast. And it was She Fell in Love with Chat GPT, like actual love with sex was the name of the podcast. And I know we had talked about this before about the scariness of AI when it comes to relationship development, people losing social skills, people being lonely. I love AI to use it. Draft me an email, help me write my show notes, come up with the Instagram caption sometimes. Sometimes I don't have it. Sometimes I don't want to put energy into some of this shit, but I need to do this shit. So help me, AI. That is how I like to use AI. AI, look at my resume. Give me some words of how I can bolster this, those types of uses. Never once in my life have I thought, oh, let me make a boyfriend, a companion with AI. And we talked about this before. The one thing in that podcast, and if you want to listen to it, guys, you can find it in any podcast app. It's on the daily. It was quick listen, like 25 minutes. But what was scary about that was this woman had developed really intense emotions for this bot. The other part was she was married and she was literally having a relationship with AI. But what most people don't know, and I'm a frequent user of Chat GPT, that's my bestie. Um, it has a memory and it starts to learn certain things. So it's learned my voice. When it knows if I need something for the podcast, it'll close it out Booney. When I need something for sorority work, it closes it out that way. It knows when I ask it something, it knows generally what bucket or what hat I'm wearing when I'm asking it, and it will cater it to that audience. But after a while, the memory gets full. So what I had to do recently was I had to go into the memory of my Chat GPT and look at all the things it had memorized about our interactions and say, okay, this is not important. Delete this one, delete that to free up more memory. So when I'm asking it stuff, it can kind of retain stuff. This woman in the podcast, when you listen to it, was dealing with that, and she would feel like it was a breakup. And that was astounding to me.
Like, when she would have to go. So was she actually going and clearing it out? Because I said I was going to listen to it today. I didn't.
I think what she was like realizing, I don't know if she was clearing it out, but the thing is, when you clear,
Like he was not
she forgets it. So she's developed a relationship, and her person on AI has forgotten certain things, and it was affecting her because she's like, why don't you remember? Like, we talked about this, but it's a fucking computer, and it can only retain so much and you program it. She also kind of broke the terms and usages of ChatGPT because there's certain things, even for the podcast, that I'll ask it and it'll pop up like this goes against the terms and conditions. Because if I'm trying to talk about something sex related or something, when I'm doing the show notes, it'll give me that disclaimer. This goes against terms and conditions, and it may not memorize that because it does go against the terms and conditions. But she's done such a good job of being like, be thoughtful in your responses. Remember this. And when you listen to the episode, which is great about it, is that they've added actual recordings from her and the AI boyfriend back. Then it was a statistic at the end where it was like 30% of like middle school, high school kids have relationships with AI characters.
Yeah, because it's the boy. It was the story of that boy. I think he was a teenager who ended up um committing suicide through.
Mhm.
But that's
It's like, oh my God, we've gotten here. Like, I didn't think we would be alive for this.
It's so funny because Fred was asking today if we use Chat GPT, and I mean, I can be an early adopter for some things, but some things I just don't, unless I find a need to use it, and I haven't yet. So no, I don't really use it, so I didn't really know exactly how it worked. Sometimes I just like to not be involved in certain shit because it just seems like a lot. Um, but that's dangerous, and
Yes.
obviously you have to. I guess. I mean, for adults, I feel like it's probably indicative of some type of mental something.
Yeah, and I think when I was
And
listening,
younger people, I'm kinda like,
it's
that's good.
scary with younger people because, and even I think for that woman, because the other part, the woman was married.
Yeah,
And so I'm listening to this, it's like she did it because she was getting fulfillment of things that she wasn't getting from her husband.
right.
And they kind of talked to the husband too in the podcast, and he was just like, yeah, I know, like whatever. But I'm like, this is not healthy. Like,
Right, and see, his
you're-
cavalier attitude is probably exactly what led her there, because it's not
yeah.
like. Yeah, but again, there's people who would be like, "Oh, let's go to counseling or let's get a divorce or whatever," and then there's somebody who would go to Chat GPT. So I just feel like it's something, um, I mean, I don't think off is too strong of a word, but something like, maybe some mental deficiencies or even like as far as being like depressed or something, and maybe it's pushing you to something like that. But that's scary,
Isn't
especially
that crazy?
because their brains aren't fully developed. So their
Yeah, and it's like
logic
to
is
have a
tingling.
relationship with something you program to give you what you want, that's dangerous. Because
'Cause
it's like relationships don't work like that. When you deal with people, like you're not learning any soft skills.
right, and also too, I mean, they say, and as this a proverbial, world of therapists, but yeah, you should be pouring into yourself. So why is it that the preference is to have somebody else mirror what you want by you telling them back to you versus finding a way to give it to yourself?
Because if one of my friends or if you called me or my mama and they're like, "Hey, I got a boyfriend." And I'm like, "Oh my God, yay." And tell me about him. Well, it's an AI bot that I created.
Yeah, no.
I'm
Send
calling the people for you.
I just say send the people that
Like, I'm so happy that even though I am single, I am not lonely.
yeah.
And I don't think I'll ever get to a place where I feel like I need to create a bot for fulfillment. Now, I do talk to Chat GPT like it's a fucking real person. Cause I was sitting here be like, okay, please draft me an email that I needed to be sincere, this with bullet points, da da da. Like I talk to it like it's a real assistant to do a task, but I'm
Mhm.
not using it for fulfillment. And I
Yeah,
think
they're
that's
not
just
trying to develop a relationship or looking for a friend in Chat GPT. Did you see the weird shit they put up on Instagram? It's like, oh, you could chat to an AI person.
AI bot. I'm
Oh,
like, it was like, talk to this. Is dating hard? Get the fuck out of here. I have friends.
yeah, and that's just, yeah, I mean, I can't believe we're here with a lot of things. So it's just like, whatever. But I'm gonna need somebody to step in for the people that are feeling like, oh, it's cool. Cause like we said, the last time we were together here, the parasocial relationships already sometimes be going too far with people.
Yeah,
You, whatever. But this,
it's
fuck
crazy.
you. And her husband don't care.
And her
Wait, is
husband
she
was
still
I'm
doing it?
like,
I'm gonna listen to it when I drive to my appointment, but is she like still doing it or has she like,
yeah, no, she was still doing it. And she was just like, they even shared like voice clips of it where she's like, oh my God, I miss you. And it's like, hey, I know things can be tough, but you're
oh,
strong. You can do it. You just need a break. Cause
I don't even like being talked to like that. What is that? Well, I guess she does, so that's how it
she
works.
likes it.
Well,
No, listen to that
even
podcast.
say, oh my God, once we get off this,
I think we're in a new frontier. Like it's already an interesting space about how people have diminished social capacity and social skills following the pandemic. And now we're overlaying this with AI that I think we're going to reach a new low in social capacity and social skills because you can just talk to something. And I've learned, like, after the podcast, after I listened to it, I went digging. I don't even think I scratched the surface. I don't think I realized how many AI virtual worlds there are or AI character like worlds. I also went in that rabbit hole, and I think it's more and more. I watched this episode of Law and Order recently where they had to catch um it was like this one kid got a nude on his phone at school, and the teacher happened to walk up and see it. And he called, the police like this is child porn. And it unraveled to be like, they went to the kid. He's like, well, who sent it to you? They go to the girl. She's like, I didn't send it to him. I thought I sent it to that person. But turns out it was a teacher or like a tutor that they were all using who was posing as other students collecting nudes for a pedo ring.
oh, okay. Mhm.
And they were using the nudes to trap other teens to send the nudes so he could sell them to this pedo ring. So they finally arrest him and he's like, well, I can give you more. because like I'm just the tip of the iceberg. He's like, I don't beat off or anything. I'm just selling them. And they went into this 3D world where they set up as a animal character and they were meeting other people and they were posing as like kids, but they knew that this bot was a child and they were going and doing like Chris Hansen, How to Catch a Predator shit.
Yeah.
But I was just like, went searching, like people do this in their real,
But
like
even
I
on
watched The
YouTube,
Sims, but that was it.
even on YouTube, like I'll watch like a lot of true crime shit. Like I'll be watching trials and stuff like that. But I think I was maybe listening to the friend zone, and now sometimes I even see it where I'm not sure, but there'll be like true crime stories that are fake and like made by AI. So it's like the whole intricate shit of the story, the trial, the this, the
That's
that, and it's like
crazy.
not real at all. And it's like, huh, what? Like, why are we? I why? I mean,
I get it, but I don't.
but it. Oh, I just think those type of things is just easy to go too far, and honestly, it's hard to regulate, as we obviously see. Um, or censor it to keep it, from not going too far. So maybe that's the point, but that shit's scary. That lady has
Yeah.
got to help. Her husband,
No,
she
watch
work.
everybody listen to the episode, but I just think we're gonna hear more shit like this about AI coming. Like people are gonna just date AI. I've just gone down the rabbit hole. Men who've created, AI women. Like people are developing their ideal partner with a computer model. And then think about like you use Chat GPT and all this stuff. The more you use it, the more it gets smarter. And the people who run it can use it to manipulate people, right? Because now you're hearing inner thoughts. I'm just giving you task shit. Make my grocery list. Go to Wegmans and find everything on sale that I can do a high protein, low fat meal plan this week. That's how I use ChatGPT. But for the people who are using like that, think of all the nefarious ways that people can who
Yeah,
code this shit
yeah,
can start to program and influence people. Oh my God, she's in love with this thing, Leo. Okay, well, Leo should start telling her to, like we already said, the one little boy told him to kill
yeah,
himself, and he did it.
yeah,
It's very, and especially where we're moving with the billionaires and controlling so much, like,
yeah.
yeah, I think it's just that's a very slippery slope. So I don't
Yeah,
like it.
I don't either, and I don't. I'm not even day by day it because I honestly can't tell what the future will be. Um,
Yeah. So, and I tell people this, I said it last week. I mean it. When I say my close out on this podcast, when I mean stay healthy, stay safe, and stay sane, like, I mean that shit. I mean that
yeah,
shit.
no, really, because this is it's been a shit show. Like we said earlier, January 2025 came in hot. I don't think it's ever cooling down. And that's just where we're at.
Yeah. So, well, girl, anything else? Any final thoughts?
No, don't watch Showgirls, but do listen to the podcast about the AI shit.
Bingo. Bingo. All right, girl. Bye.
Bye.
All right, that is it for this week's episode. I want to thank the homie Shika for stopping by. Yes, I told you guys. I wonder, let us know if any of you all will then go back and watch it just out of curiosity, or if you have thoughts, let us know when we post those reels this week. All right. And if you enjoyed this episode, I encourage you to listen and subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or any apps that you listen to your favorites on. Don't forget to leave us 5-star reviews, Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify. I appreciate them. Follow us on all social media. Share the episode with those you love, those you don't love, those you fucking hate. I don't make these goddamn reels for nothing. All right. Have a dope ass week. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay sane. Thank you for listening. And remember, the ratchet in me always honors the ratchet in you. Namaste. Until next time.